All right, so what is the easiest way to make $10,000 per month every single month with Forex trading? Really simple. All you need to do is get funded $200,000.
It makes more financial sense for you to own a supercar that is $100,000 and up than it does to drive a Hyundai for 25 grand.
All right, so I think it's actually pretty impressive how many different grifters I was able to find on TikTok Finance for all of us to see and honestly to really make fun of, because overall, as you'll see, it's pretty similar tactics, but a lot of different avenues. And unfortunately, as we've seen with the scam videos that I've made with other bad financial TikTok advice, basically the entirety of CoffeeZilla's channel in general, many of these grifters end up scamming a ton of people online now because they're very smooth at talking or they have very good editing. They seem very convincing. They're flashing a whole bunch of wealth. You name it, they're trying to use it to sell you some sort of course or mastermind, entrepreneurship plan, mentorship, Discord group, whatever. So we have a lot of clips to go through along with some of your comments from previous videos. So if you want to be featured on a future video, leave it in the comments down below. But we're just going to get into it with a Forex trader.
All right, so what is the easiest way to make $10,000 per month every single month with Forex trading? Really simple. All you need to do is get funded $200,000. So in order to do this, you're going to need some help. So this is where you can get something like our E8, which will help you do this automatically. After that, once you're funded, all you really need to do is keep hitting 5% every single month, and that would equate to $10,000 per month. Sounds easy? Because it is.
Now, right off the bat, before we get into it, this almost seems so cookie cutter that it's satire, but then I looked into this guy. He's 100% serious on this, because if this was comedy, it seems like it would be pretty funny because there's just nothing special about it. It's so ridiculous. Somehow hitting 5% returns every month forever, I guess. There's just no red months. Forget the 8 or 10% returns on the stock market, which is the goal for most people. You'll just hit 5% every single month. And why stop there? It should be every week or every day. And then, of course, how do I get funded for $200,000? Because apparently that just comes out of thin air if you join their group. Because I bet they're going to fund just anybody over 6 figures to instantly start trading, and then, you know, $10,000 a month, boom, 6 figures, as easy as that. This is honestly a guy pretty low on the totem pole though, so he's trying to pull out all the tricks. If anything, if he does start tricking a good amount of people, I bet he'll get even smoother at talking and it won't just sound like every basic cookie cutter grifter. Only 2,000 followers, trader, follow for more trading and lifestyle content. DM me the word pass, which is just, again, every single shady TikTok page with the bot comments. He's posing in front of Bentley that he 100% doesn't own with a whopping 5 likes. The only comment to it as well is very uncomfortable type of bot. It's the whole situation is very weird. I guess this is what happens when you're in the slums and trying to grift people from the absolute bottom, because you go on to his TikTok page, a whopping 300 followers. Of course, he's in Dubai, so he could dodge taxes just like all the other grifters. Forex, mindset, lifestyle, let's level up. It's just, come on, you gotta up your game to try to start tricking people, because I think a lot of people overall will just see this and laugh at it. We do still have people who believe in that dream, the day trading, the Forex trading. We have a comment from one of you guys. I knew a man who kept an extra laptop at his desk for day trading. He loved to talk and told me about the many thousands of dollars he lost and how he was trying to get it back, and he swore he was going to stop after that. That seems like a gambling addict to me. He worked for the government, and based on what he openly shared with me, I felt his finances were scary enough that he was leaning far enough into gambling addiction, exactly, that he was putting his clearance at risk. Nice man, but he was a gambler, no doubt, and he made terrible, impulsive decisions with what money he did manage to earn through trades. And you see all of these random TikToks of people showing a green arrow going up on a stock or a cryptocurrency or just Forex trading, gambling in a casino online, and you get that itch of, oh, I could be that guy too. And then unfortunately you turn into that, gambling away tons of money and then just hoping that one day you'll quit when you finally break even.
These people the other day, man, they had like $150,000 in loans, and they took like 5 years and worked all this overtime to pay that off. They could have just went bankrupt, then worked really hard to build their wealth. But instead, they worked for 5 years really hard to pay debt down to zero, which means when they paid that debt down to zero, they were still broke. They could have just went bankrupt and then worked really hard and had the 150 grand. Bankruptcy's not really scary. They're not gonna come kill you're gonna be bankrupt. Pretty much it's like following the Dave Ramsey method, except it's real quick. The Dave Ramsey method will just keep you bankrupt for most of your life.
Of course, man. Why would you ever have to take responsibility of your actions as an adult? You could just instantly go bankrupt when you're poor with your financial decisions. Just keep buying stuff on Amazon over and over again, maxing out those credit cards, doing maybe minimum payments at best, and then when you're finally done with it, go bankrupt. It's easier just to restart for that 5 to 7 years that you're in the hole, and you just magically know what to do with your finances after you declare bankruptcy. You were just going to start making money and be way ahead of the game instead of actually taking responsibility for your actions and paying your debt off. This is a lot of the mindset of the credit card debt videos that we talk about, and we've seen in those videos that especially when you don't take accountability and you go bankrupt, you end up doing it over and over again. There was a specific woman where it was a very odd situation. She had an entire page almost dedicated to her debt. She was in 3 cycles of debt in her life, actually paying it off and then going right back into it. And then just recently, she declared bankruptcy, and she had a whole weird thing with a very odd kickback link on her page for her viewers to declare bankruptcy as well, getting a lawyer. It was a very shady situation, but taking this advice and having no accountability, you won't learn anything. You're going to declare bankruptcy and then you're going to start maxing out credit cards again, over and over again. Now, funny thing with these types of videos, the bad financial advice and the scam videos that I talk about, well, you know, what to look out for, especially online, you get some comments like this. The fact that YouTube threw in at least 2 ads during your video with people selling the solution to infinite wealth is the most perfect scam loop of all. Somehow, the algorithm doesn't know that I'm actively trying to make you avoid these types of people, so you probably have had ads in this video at some point of this same type of grifter with an Amazon dropshipping website or any of the day trading or just motivation in general. This is how you could get your Lamborghini by 2025, all of that.
The first year I did 5 flips, just maxing out my credit cards. Second year I did 20 flips, same deal, maxing out my credit cards. My credit score during that time was in the 500s. And I remember my friends were like, hey, why are you gonna keep your credit cards maxed out? Aren't you concerned that your credit's in the 500s? And I'm like, what am I gonna get with credit? What's the point of credit? To get a good interest rate? I'm already buying properties. Am I gonna go finance a car? I just bought my car cash. What do I need good credit for? And people worry about the dumbest things. Anytime somebody's concerned about their credit and they're broke, I'm like, you are literally the dumbest person alive. It makes literally no sense to be worried about credit and you're broke. You have way bigger problems than your credit score. And just the whole credit system's stupid to begin with. Hey, let's build up my credit, and the moment you use it, it's gonna drop. The whole thing is rigged, and you guys play with it. You're like, yeah, my FICO's great. I'm like, great, what's your net worth? Nobody's ever asked Jeff Bezos his FICO score. Nobody cares.
In one single way, I guess I understand what he's trying to say, where if you're just 100% obsessed with your credit score, it's not really going to do you good if you don't use it. But in the way of him saying that he was maxing out cards to flip real estate as if it's just that easy and anybody could do it just because he said that he did it, you know, real estate goes up. So many people have gotten so wealthy because of real estate. You could just look at the countless amounts of content on TikTok and YouTube of all of these people that have 100 different units or 1,000 different units and are millionaires, right? But now that we're not living in the la la land where all assets just kept rising over and over again during COVID, and it's starting to get a little hit or miss. I'm not saying that real estate has tanked right now, but clearly not as easy as just buying something, waiting a couple months, and then relisting it for more money now. It really depends on what real estate you bought and what part of the country and how much money you have to actually spend on a piece of real estate. If you don't know who this is a YouTuber slash TikToker who has been around for quite a while and over 1 million followers on TikTok of the, I would say Grant Cardone adjacent type of content, all the ones where he's standing in front of a crowd or on a podcast talking about all the money he made on real estate. But then when you really start looking at his content, he only gets 1,000-ish views on TikTok per video with his 1 million followers. So either there is virtually no engagement from anybody who follows him, which is still not a good thing, or a lot of these are bought. So you have a whole bunch of fake followers to look official, especially with all these clips making it look like he knows what he's doing. He's telling everybody how he could max out cards and flip a whole bunch of houses, make a ton of money. Same thing with his YouTube account. I think it's really funny. His most popular video is called Expert Explains the Best Side Hustles No One is Talking About in 2024. And you look right under it, It was uploaded 4 years ago. How was he making a video talking about 2024 side hustles in 2020? Was he seeing the future? He knew what was going to happen in 4 years? No. This is just the same video that he probably makes. Try to get recommended to people higher up in the search for the side hustle culture. And then surprise, surprise, when you see the descriptions for a lot of his social media, 500 plus house flips, 550 rentals, join our community, coaching and events. And of course, you sign up for a class. I do love, of course, they have the free trial where it's just a couple dollars, even though you still have to put in your credit card information. And then how much value he's giving you for how cheap it is. I think it's still like $100 a month because, of course, it's a subscription now. It can't be a one-time payment for anything now in 2024. Access to all Wealthy University courses, $8,000 value. Next one's $10,000 value, $5,000 value. I mean, in total, just for the $100 a month, it's a $23,000 value. I bet it is, man. The real estate ones, I think, are the most prominent because of how difficult real estate really is. I'm not telling you that I know anything about real estate. It's a very difficult subject to master and really know what you're talking about and make a lot of money. But because so many people aren't really in the know on how you could really make money off of real estate efficiently and not just go bankrupt and max out all your credit cards, these people who are smooth talkers will really convince a lot of people. They buy the course for $100 a month and then boom, he's making thousands and thousands of dollars a month just from the same basic knowledge that you could probably Google, and he made most likely back in 2020 when it was so easy to make money off of real estate. And clearly you could see that it works because we have another comment from you guys. FYI, I believe Ty Lopez, who is one of the original I'm here in my garage with my Lamborghini, like that meme, he spent something like $10 million in ads on YouTube for that stupid course that he sold for only $68, but apparently he still made around $100 million from it. All of these other grifters probably aren't nearly as efficient as this guy because this was the first one that everybody really took notice of how weird this was, but it still convinced a lot of people to buy it. And now we have a whole bunch of copycats just doing the same thing over and over again. We have another comment from one of you guys. Please sign up for one of these classes and stream it for us. I want to see exactly what goes on in these classes. Now, I'm pretty sure people have tried to do that, but they get copyrighted if they try to put it on YouTube because I think it technically is, or they'll get sued by the grifter just to try to scare somebody. There was a video that I watched a while ago from Drew Gooden where he did a course that Ninja, the Twitch streamer, made on like how to be a gaming superstar and make a whole bunch of money like he did. And again, it was very easy, get a good gaming PC, a keyboard, a webcam, and be able to interact with chat and be good at video games. It's like very, very basic stuff. He made a dedicated video off of one of those courses where it's not exactly the same as the Forex trading or the real estate, but he did really shine a light on how basic some of these courses actually are.
It makes more financial sense for you to own a supercar that is $100,000 and up than it does to drive a Hyundai for 25 grand. Sorry, Hyundai. But financially, it makes more sense to buy the supercar because they don't have a bottom. They don't go to zero. You don't start over. You understand true value. It becomes a wealth transfer. If I can buy, personal example, the R8 that I had, so I bought that for $80,000 and I sold it for $110,000 after driving it for 2 years.
Wow.
So I got to drive an R8.
You got to drive an R8 and have it in your driveway.
And I got paid $30,000 to do it.
I do like that girl who had no knowledge was just like, wow, just 100% took what he said as fact. Even though, of course, this was one of the only times in history where almost all car values went up because, of course, this video was around COVID. So he got lucky and bought an R8. Again, pretty old R8 if it was only around $80,000, probably around 2018. And then during 2020, 2021, when all the values came up and people were making money, they wanted to buy their toys because they couldn't really do much else. That exact car, even with more miles, went up in value. But you've already seen, even in the past several months or so, that has completely stopped. That is not the case anymore. Very few cars on the planet go up in value now. And the majority of the reason why is because they're extremely limited. Maybe they're old cars 20, 25 years ago that are clearly not being made anymore, or brand new cars that have less than 1,000 units made. Those are the only cars that are still doing well now. Everything has stagnated or started to finally go down. So me just going out and buying a supercar real quick won't just magically make me a ton of money after driving it for several years. We have some of the comments from this video. Followed this guy's advice and bought a Lamborghini, put 100,000 miles on it this year, doing Grubhub, but for some reason nobody will buy it now. That's basically what would happen if anybody actually took this advice. Everyone listening in the comments, don't do this. Failed to mention that he bought it before the inventory crisis and sold it when the shortage hit and the economy was bursting at its seams. That's exactly what I was saying. So there's a very short period of time where you were basically allowed to say this online because you made a good amount of money, but you had to be lucky enough to just have the car before any of the crisis began.
What happens when we have to go fight another war? What happens when your wife or your kid needs you? You don't have the physical or mental capability to help them. You are a liability to your families. Do you want to be a liability? No, instructor. Do you want to be a liability? No, instructor. Then put out. Do something. Show up. Put the sledgehammer out. Life is hard. Being a husband's hard. Being a father's hard. It's fucking hard.
These ones are great. These have come up in the past couple years of the pseudo, I guess, people who didn't want to join the military, but they're actively paying for a boot camp for somebody to be a pseudo drill sergeant, and you have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and do all these weird activities to be tough and be alpha. And you could see in the comments, because a whole bunch of people started making fun of this, yeah, guys, just give me $1,000 and show up at a park at 3 a.m. on a Sunday. They for real paid thousands of dollars for this. You still have somebody, wish I could afford this course, and it was hearted by this guy. Again, this is a very low tier version of the alpha boot camps. I remember there was one that was getting made fun of by every commentary channel on YouTube where it was insane. It was like an $18,000 course that these people were legitimately paying for an entire like military style boot camp to be like an alpha member of society and be super successful. It was almost everything mashed into one. It was insane. I guess people could really be convinced by anybody. It's very upsetting. We have a couple for the next few clips, which I think will be a staple on this channel. Again, that pseudo alpha male salesman type that they're trying to pitch to normal people on TikTok now.
I was calling to get some information about a vehicle I saw on the website.
Okay, which vehicle?
Oh, we got an old fart on here.
Hello?
So how many miles are on it again?
67.6.
I think I'm gonna look around for one with a little bit less miles.
Alrighty. Well, thanks for calling. Let me know if I can help.
Buddy, just like that, you're gonna let me go?
You keep cutting in and out.
Well, I told you that that I think it had a little bit too many miles. You heard that, right?
I did hear that.
Yeah, and then you said okay, and you were gonna get off the phone. Were you gonna go back and sit down and have a cup of coffee?
Well,
I'm only halfway through the clip. I'm not even going to finish it because this stuff annoys me. This is like an entire series that he does where he basically just calls salesmen and makes fun of them for not being like the vicious Wolf of Wall Street, like awful type of salesman that nobody wants to deal with. But this is supposed to motivate salesmen and make them work harder so they can make more money for their family and be the alpha leader, just on and on and on, yada, yada, yada. We've had a previous clip where he again was talking to salesmen where he said, if I put a gun to your son's head, would you sell double the amount of cars? It's like that kind of stuff where just calm down, dude. But this is his entire grift, and I guess he's convinced enough people to do it where he just keeps making these videos because a lot of comments that are very similar to my thoughts. So you're mad that he didn't try to sell you a car you didn't really want. Watched Wolf of Wall Street once, but as a customer, I appreciate when salespeople don't continue to try and get me to buy something I don't want. Again, who really wants to go to a dealership and be constantly followed around and like micromanaged by some salesman talking about every little feature of any car? Like, it's just annoying, but apparently that's the only way to sell in his mind. So we have a comment from the previous video talking about this guy. I'm pretty sure that that salesman also had a video saying he only needs to spend an hour a day with his kids because he could get so much more quality out of 1 hour than being with them all day. Now that sounds ridiculous, right? But then we're gonna check out a clip from his wife.
I have ladies that ask me all the time, hey, I feel guilty because I'm in business and I have my kids and I'm not spending time with them. I'm like, well, how much time are you giving them? I'm like, well, a couple hours. And I'm like, a couple hours? I mean, that's freaking a lot of time. It really is. I give my kids 20 minutes. 20 minutes. My kids don't need more than 20 minutes. But in those 20 minutes, when I'm home, I'm a different woman every day for my kids. When I see them, we play Ring Around the Rosie on the outside. You know, we play, I throw them, I'll do things they don't expect me to do. I don't sit and I don't play with my phone when I'm with my kids. I try to surprise them. I try to do stuff that they don't expect. That's the thing. You're not making the best out of your time. Sometimes your kids get used to you just being there and not really being there.
So I guess in both of these parents' minds, it's better to just hang out with them really hardcore for an hour and 20 minutes and go play fetch, run outside, or do whatever they're trying to do, not be on their phone, and then what, just work the rest of the time, doing these lame conferences and all of these grifts and trying to convince people to be like the alpha male. It is pretty funny because I could see that this couple is definitely a copy of Alex and Layla Hormozi, which I have mixed thoughts about them as well. I do agree with some of the stuff that he says. I think that this couple is just trying to copy the Hormozis and get all of these clips in front of people in the podcast clips just to build up the following. But if you really want to take this at face value, how many stories have you seen where a kid ends up hating his parents because all they do is work and they're super successful? You know, they live in a big mansion with the nanny and all of that. There's no communication between the parents because all they do is work and make money. This is basically the same statement, but it's trying to be motivational to, you know, really have fun with your kids for a small amount of time and then just get back to work or whatever. It's very dumb. I don't even give my kids 20 minutes. I'm too busy making cold calls. Hashtag level up. The justification and rationalization is crazy with this one. She took over the father's role, so who's taking over the mother's role? The assistant? Well, neither of them are doing it because both of them had the same statements where they don't really even take care of their kids or hang out with their kids that much. We have another comment from you guys. Whatever these TikTokers do the opposite, and I think that holds true for the next clip. Now, I do actually believe that this is pretty satire, but again, from what we've seen with social media influencers, they will just give you false financial information, and if you actually take it and run with it, you could get in trouble.
Hey there, TikTok. Day 6 living on a boat till tax season's over, taking advantage of that maritime law. You already know. Now I got beer in the cooler, Buffett on the radio, baby, living like a founding father.
And this is a video kind of making fun of trying to dodge taxes. With the whole maritime law, it was very similar to the person who was trying to write off everything in their life. They would go on vacation, and because they recorded a couple of videos that they were influencers, apparently the entire vacation was able to be written off, which is not true. Same thing where he said he hired a personal chef every day, and he would have business meetings with his family every night, so he was able to write that off as well. And it's just not the case. But there was another clip that just had a couple photos that I thought was pretty funny. How it started with the day 4 living on a boat until tax season, and then how it's going day 1 of tax court. So if you actually take this seriously, like a lot of these influencers and grifters that we've seen, especially with trying to dodge taxes, man, it's super unbelievably dangerous. You basically can't avoid just evading taxes. I know there are things you could do where you could legitimately bring your tax burden down, but just doing crazy things in gray areas will just end up getting audited, and you will get caught. You could clearly see upper class wealthy people still will end up getting caught for tax evasion. It's not something I'd really mess with. Here we have one that's too good to be true with something that was probably pretty successful years and years ago, but they're still trying to peddle it as if it's just that easy.
I taught my kids how to start a vending machine business. I told them a vending machine costs $2,000. It costs $200 to restock the vending machine every week. So the first thing that you need to do, you got to earn $2,000. Dad, how am I going to do that? Do all of these projects at home, and you can earn the $2,000 plus the $200 of food that you're going to stock it with. Okay, Dad, what's the next thing I do? You're going to every week put $200 of food in it, and people are going to buy that food for $400. What's your profit? There's $200 left over. I said, great. Now that's called profit.
Again, we're only halfway through it. I'm cutting it off there. I'm not going to watch the rest of it. It's just the same too good to be true type of side hustles, where I remember watching years and years ago that vending machines were actually a pretty good side hustle for people. But then as soon as it starts getting out in the public, where clearly you don't need a degree or really too much business knowledge to be able to just restock vending machines over and over again. You would just need deals to have them in specific places with high traffic and then just constantly restock them. But again, when you realize people could actually make money off of it, the competition explodes. We have some comments from this video. Step 1, have a parent that gives you $2,000 for doing a few chores around the house. Immediately just thrown right out the window. That'll never happen. But he tried to make it sound like his children were making more than the average American just from doing that. Ridiculous. Very difficult to find places to put machines. A vending machine owner here, almost no locations do $800 a month. A good location is $400 a month. Just completely BS numbers. He has no idea what he's actually talking about, just very convincing, and he's flashing cash and he has a nice background, so he'll seem convincing to a lot of people. And it doesn't end there. He has been doing this for quite a long time. We'll just play a very short portion of this clip.
You know, when it comes to money, most of us are not trained in high school or college or from home what we should be doing with our money, what we should be buying, what we shouldn't be buying. So I decided today that I would make a video for you.
Immediate first red flag, if he's getting out of a car, especially a BMW i8 trying to be all flashy, you know that it's a complete grift. i8s are supercars to people who aren't really into cars because they have the doors that go up, you know, they look super fancy. They look like a Lamborghini, they look like a Ferrari, but when you actually look at buying a i8, you could get one for like $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. So basically the price of an SUV now, it is not fancy at all. They are horribly depreciating cars. But again, it's always the look. It's always to try to convince people when you see the comments, just buy my $1,000 course. No surprise there. What you shouldn't be buying is an i8, probably the fastest depreciating car around. But when you go to when this video was uploaded, he's been doing this over and over again since the beginning of COVID. School has failed us. And then of course it funnels into another course. But this was at the beginning of people sitting at home watching a lot more videos, realizing that you can make money online, and he capitalized on it with one of these cookie cutter videos. We're done with all the grifters for today. I just have one more video that is just a little bit of justice. Probably, I would advise you against doing this. I thought that this was pretty crazy, but this definitely went viral on TikTok.
Congratulations, my friend.
Congratulations.
Okay?
Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations.
Congratulations.
All right.
So this dealership got this guy stealing a dead person's identity just to try to be able to buy a car, and he thought it was all legit until the cops finally showed up. So at least we have somebody getting caught and having to deal with their actions. So if you see anybody, let alone some sort of guru or mastermind or mentor type of person trying to sell you a course, please avoid it at all costs. It's really not going to work out for you in the end, especially when you hear people like this comment who are actually in the gambling scene legitimately. I'm a professional poker player, and the gloating and lies you see from people are ridiculous. I don't live a lavish lifestyle. I have to treat it like a business, keep on top of finances, manage risk, and a plethora of other ways to earn anything. Also, it's certainly not only up. I've lost for 5 months straight before seeing anything in return. Now, I know specifically I've talked about how much I dislike gambling, but I still know that there are people who are legitimate sharps when it comes to gambling and poker and blackjack, you know, counting cards, being very good at reading people in poker. That one's more of a person against person game instead of just, you know, hitting the slot button over and over again and hoping you get a jackpot. But for the very few people who legitimately do it for a living, there are countless amounts of people trying to sell you the dream of doing it for a living. And it doesn't really seem like there's any sign of stopping. So hopefully I could just keep making these videos showing more and more of these people that you should try to avoid at all costs, just to try to save some people some money. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. YouTube thinks you'll like this video popping up on screen right now, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, and I'll talk to you guys later.